I was so excited. Oh, hello, goodbye, Emma. Oh no, we can get out. I was so excited to play or work for Kira and Crimson Dawn. I was so excited going in. And, bro, none of that. Fucking damn thing. Bro, this door's still alive? Goodness, bro, what is with this door, dude? I remember getting through this door at the start of a match, and it wasn't that hard. And all of a sudden, they made this motherfucker Great Wall of China. I can't get in that motherfucker. This guy's about to get himself killed right here doing this, though. Oh, but he's still alive. Okay. Oh! This guy's repair tooling my MRAP. He stole it. Oh, there. We're gonna blow it up too. Ooh, that felt good for not having the mobility, and I like the way I hold it with my thumb on top. I think we might have just found a better way to run this gun for me anyway. And I'm gonna get the shorter barrel too. I wonder if that will change the way he holds the gun though. Hopefully not. Oh, that's a teammate. Fuck, I thought it was playing. Because I'm not noticing my mobility being down now that I took off the ankle grip. I don't have any rockets. And this dude has a gunner. And even though it's a bot, they don't miss when they shoot at you. Once they get locked onto you, you're fucked. Look at that. There's like no recoil either without the grip. I just fucking lasered that dude. Ooh, there I noticed it was a little slower to aim down sight, but it still wasn't bad, obviously. Bot Slayer, because there's no silver browser. Oh, there's too many.
Enemy attack confirmed at Charlie.
Yeah, I don't get excited for games as much as I used to. I think we're just kind of getting... I don't know how to put it. We all got to grow up at a time, or most of us, some of you might be younger, but we got to grow up at a time where there was exciting games and the way companies and the higher-ups approach launching a game was different, where now it's just getting very corporatized, and it's obviously you always have wanted to make money, and you should. It's, you know, you gotta make money. I'm not knocking them for that, but it's gotten a little too corporatized now, where you can see the corporate dudes grubby little fingers on everything. Outlaws would be an example of that. I feel like they just wanted to throw something on us, like a Star Wars name on something, throw it out, and that's why there's very few skill points in any of the tech trees, basically. It just wasn't developed. They're like, just get it out. We're gonna make some money off of it. It's good enough. It's good. It's good enough. Not good enough for us. Good enough for them to make some money. And it just,
we need to rally defense on the mark.
at least I'm noticing it more. Maybe I've just been around long enough. I've seen it, but it's just hard for me to really get into companies nowadays. You can just see them fucking everything up. Oh my god, we got a whole bot squad coming down here. And none of them died, but we hit all of them a million times. And now I'm gonna die to a bot. Watch. Now I'm missing. Oh god, I'm missing. Jesus, I'm gonna get molested by bots. Could you save me, bot? Thank you, brother. Oh, they're over there too. Oh, Jesus. We're pinned down. There's so many bots. We're pinned fucking down. They got the tank. That bot fucking straight up left. He's like, bye, motherfucker. I'm gonna let my homies rape you. Bro, this gun is just weak. Oh. Bots brought choppers. They brought tanks. Jesus.
Be advised, I've got a visual on hostile heavy armor bearing west.
Star Wars is incredibly guilty of it. That's what I was saying earlier. It's just they don't have the quality that they claim. You know, we hold ourselves to the highest standard. They 100% don't. They threw out Outlaws is a prime example of not holding yourself to a high standard. They do that with movies. They do that with shows. They throw a name on it. The quality's not there, and they just throw it out. Book of Boba's an example of that. They're just the quality's not there. hopefully they learn from their mistakes, which we always say, and then maybe they'll change. But I'm really worried for the Mandalorian and Grogu shit for that same reason. But hopefully it's good. But I don't know. Star Wars in general has left such a bad taste in my mouth. I just can't really get excited for anything right now. Like, even after Andor Season 1's success, which I love so much, I was still nervous going into 2, because I'm like, man, what if they get their grubby hands on it? They saw that there was a success, and they're like, alright, now the higher-ups are gonna fucking, well, why don't we? I'm like, please don't. Please keep your mouth shut, higher-ups. I don't want to hear you guys talk. I just can't stand them anymore. Huh? I'm so happy when a game comes out that actually works, and that's one of the reasons I'm scared about this game. There's a lot of shit they could have done and they didn't do, and it's just, I wonder why they didn't do it. Like, I feel like if I'm talking to a developer, I could easily pitch why this game needs a server browser. Like, maybe they didn't add one because the higher-ups wanted to go down a different route because they thought it would be better for money. It's just, but like, if I'm talking to a developer, I feel like I could have easily told them, like, this, why a lot of this stuff they're doing wasn't gonna work. The skill-based matchmaking is fucking ruining this shit. It's always unbalanced. The lack of server browser is literally making me play bots every day. Even though you yourself claim you wanted to reach a massive audience and the most amount of players ever, you then put a system in that limits a lot of those players unless you're in the US or Europe. But we could have easily called that out. We told them beforehand, a lot of other people told them beforehand, and yet they went ahead with it anyway. It's just, I feel like it's ultimately a corporate level decision fucking it up, where it's just nothing we can do about it. It's just, I don't know. It's just unfortunate. This kind of makes me lose faith when I really wish I didn't. Feel free to prove me wrong, guys. I would be very happy if you did. Don't get me wrong.
Objective has been recaptured.
Oh, you scared me, sir.
Time to attack the marked objective.
Well, it's not just that. If you keep the average noob happy, they're more likely to play your game. And since you're focused on so many, like, microtransactions now, which I don't have a problem with if done right. I have no problem with them selling skins. They should. But if you want people to keep playing, and you want noobs to do good. So you keep balancing it, where people like me who are good at the game are always going to be on the worst team, or very rarely get on the best team, because we carry more. But it's going to help the noobs out. Same with why they added bots in there, because it's kind of that positivity stuff. You're gonna get to boost your KD, even though the good players like me now know there's really no reason to brag about your KD when bot stats can count, especially when Portal counts. Like, you've kind of ruined it. But to the average dude, they might like it and make them feel better. And the more they like a game or feel better at a game, the more they're gonna play it. And the more they're on it, the more likely they are to buy skins. And it's just, it just doesn't feel like, I noticed the corporate moves way more. And again, maybe that's just because as I grew up, I started noticing it more, and it might not even be that they changed. It might just be, I'm more of an adult now than when I was a teenager, obviously, and I can, you know how the world works now, basically. You can see it more, I don't know. But I just get that vibe with so many of the different things that I dislike in so many different games now, where I'm like, the developers would want to make a good game, but they need to please the investors. They need to please the higher-ups. You know, it's just like the chain of command, basically. And I feel that a little too much. Like, I get it to a certain extent, but I feel like it just gets kind of over. They go overboard with it, where I'm like, oh my goodness. Jesus Christ, miss every shot, why don't you? We hit him in the head, but he still had enough health.
Be advised, we no longer control objective Bravo.
Yep, you're pretty much right on where we picked up at, Massacre. Is it as bad as COD? Probably not. Do they call it the same as COD? Nope, but it's in this fucking game. I will die on that hill to any developer who would like to argue it's not. I am always at the top of the leaderboard. This is not me bragging. Just fucking pull up any fucking stream you want. It's rare when I'm not leading the team at the end of the game and leading the lobby in general, right? And you will constantly see me having to carry every fucking dumb shit out there. Way more than usual. And every game has it to a certain extent, and I get it if they implement it right. I would be on board with skill-based matchmaking if it made every game close. Because I like close games. Win or lose, it's a close game, it's a fun game. But that's not what we get. We get, oh shit, because I'm leading the team, we'll just throw a random number. You think I'm worth 10 noobs, so now I get 10 noobs on my team, and they put 10 average dudes on the other team. Where I'm still better than those 10 average dudes, but there's a lot of them. And I get fucking, you know, fucking retards running around with blowtorches fucking writing names and shit. And now I gotta fucking carry them because I'm too good. I get penalized for being good. It's so noticeable in this game, and it fucking drives me insane. But you constantly are the only one doing shit, and the better you do, the more that happens. Is it as bad as COD? No, I don't think it's as bad as Call of Duty skill-based matchmaking. But it is 100% in this game, and it's one of the main reasons we don't have a server browser, which further triggers me because a server browser would have helped me on so many different levels. But they sacrifice so much for this skill-based matchmaking that they put in the game, and they won't talk about it, they won't admit it's part of the problem, and they're just like ignoring that issue. It's sacrificed so much. Now, I can't change regions a lot of the time, well, anytime, because there's no server browser, which is always the way we would change regions, because they wanted to implement this skill-based matchmaking. It's just, they sacrificed so much for it, and ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think it was worth it. Yet they won't talk about it, because they're like, shh, skill-based matchmaking is out of the game. We're not Call of Duty. It's like, dude, if you want to fix your game, you need to have these conversations, and I just get the vibe DICE ain't gonna have those conversations, unfortunately, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully they prove me wrong. I would be very happy if they did, but it's just, it's unfortunate. But if you find if you guys have any clips of a DICE developer talking about skill-based matchmaking, whether it came out after launch or before, send it to me, please. I would love to hear what they have to say, because I know they're full of shit, but I want to hear it so I could use his words against him, because, again, they might be like, there's no skills-based matchmaking in COD, like, or in Battlefield. I'm like, yay, everybody cheers. But they could just be politicking you, where we just don't call it that. You know, it's like, you gotta be careful with how these motherfuckers word shit, where it's like, dude, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, but whatever the fuck you want to call it is in this game. I can see it firsthand, and so could anybody watching this stream. You see it so often, maybe not every game, because every once in a while they throw you a bone where you need to get a win so you don't kill yourself and go play another game. But it's either rape or be raped. That's the problem. If it was a close game, I'm all on board with skill-based matchmaking. But the problem is no game, at least that I've played, has been able to perfect it. It's always fucking up shit. In theory, I love skill-based matchmaking if it worked, but it never works, and it does not work in this game. It doesn't work in COD, doesn't work in this game. It's just, it's frustrating. I wouldn't get too curious about clips. That game's a long ways away. Yep, I'm always on those teams too, Master. I'm either winning by 1,000 tickets or I'm losing by 500 tickets. It's just constantly how it goes.
Enemy attack launched on Bravo.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I wish they'd get. I'm the same way, Master. I don't want to win by 1,000 tickets. I don't want every good player on my team. I just want a good back and forth match where it comes down to the last 5 tickets. We're like, oh my god, don't respawn. Like, that is so fun. And what we get is not even remotely close to that. We gotta fucking thank God and get on our knees every time we finally get a match that's balanced. We're like, that was fun. But now I gotta go through 50 more that are not gonna be that. I'm either fucking winning by 1,000 or losing by 500 because I carried and make up the 500 difference. It's just frustrating, you know? It's just, give me something in between, please. Like, that's all I want. And if they could do that consistently, I would be flying the banner of skill-based matchmaking. Like, that's what we need. But we don't have it in this game. Not even close. They can call it whatever the fuck they want, but it's not working, whatever it is. And we saw similar matchmaking in Battlefront as well, where it's just dominate, get raped. Especially heroes versus villains, you notice it way more in that mode, where it was just rape or be raped. There was no close games, or very rarely anyway. And sadly, it carried over to this game, I think even worse, because it just happens on a way bigger scale, much more. And it's not, oh, well, the player base is going down. It was that way at launch when we had a shit ton. And there's still a lot of people playing this game, despite what all the fucking troll accounts online are still playing. There's plenty of people playing this game still. It's just, I don't know. It could be better. That's one of the biggest problems with this game, and that ties into so much different things. Really, if you really wanted to break it down, that sole problem can be tied into so many other different problems. Lack of server browser means I can't change regions. Lack of consistent servers, or whatever you want to call them, where, for example, at the end of this game, with these players, instead of going to the next lobby with them, we then get spread to the wind. Everybody goes everywhere. That's why you see more bots in your lobby, because look, we're in Asia. We have a filled up lobby. There's proof right here. But next game, they're all going to go somewhere else. And we're going to be looking at bots again when the game starts, because it wants to use the skill-based matchmaking to try to balance that. You know, and it doesn't work. If it worked, I'd be more open to it, but it doesn't. So now we play bots more because of skill-based matchmaking, because they wanted to not put a server browser or a consistent server where we stay in the lobby at the end of the lobby, like old Battlefield. Well, I think my main reason is because of skill-based matchmaking. So it ties into that. And because we can't change regions now because we don't have a server browser, now when I play with my friends, I'm constantly playing on a 200 ping. I'm in the Philippines, I get it. But if we had a server browser, we could pick a middle region where we both have a relatively same ping and play. But we can't do that. Why? Because they wanted to put skill-based matchmaking in the game, which means they're not going to use server browser. So now we're playing bots. We're playing on a highest fuck ping every fucking time. We don't stay in the same server. So even if Crimes and I, when we're playing on different regions, get in a server where we both have around 100 ping and it's even, we ain't going to get that game next game, because now we're going to go to a different lobby, because we don't have the consistent servers where we stay in. Like, so many of the game's problems get tied into that, and it's so fucking annoying that nobody wants to have this conversation. By the way, look, here's another great team. We have more kills than everyone in the lobby, leading the team, blah, 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 but my team doesn't have a flag. There you go. And this is all while I'm just ranting, too, by the way. Here's another example of the great skill-based matchmaking we get to witness before our very eyes. Perfect timing. 10 out of 10 on that timing, DICE. But there's just a lot of stuff DICE really needs to look into. And I'm not even sure that they can after launch, which is why we were so vocal about those issues leading up to Battlefield Labs and throughout Battlefield Labs. Even though they wouldn't invite me for obvious reasons, there was stuff we were being vocal about. There was stuff other players were being vocal about, where we're going to need server browsers. Like, we were telling them, here's the issue. You're walking into an issue. Let's fix it now before you launch. They didn't do it. That's where I get so annoyed with DICE. You could say I'm being negative, you could say whatever the fuck you want, but you're an idiot. I'll just fucking say that, because I'm bringing up facts, and you just say I'm being negative instead of countering me. Well, suck a dick, word I shouldn't use, especially if I post this as a video. But like, nobody's talking about, and I'll bring it up again because I might use this as a video, but in the beta, or in Battlefield Labs, or no, I think it was the beta time. I think it was beta time. We were talking about, and on social media, a lot of people started, I don't want to say going viral, but in the community, I guess it started going viral, of we're going to need server browsers, and oh my god, everybody server browser, we need server browsers for not just Portal. And, okay, we're going to start testing, and implying they're going to give us that. Okay, so all the panic and the discussion died down because we thought DICE was working on it. Then the game launches, and they did the exact same shit without doing any of the stuff they said. And most of the community, which was all up in arms about not getting a server browser, didn't say a fucking thing. They kept their mouth shut and didn't even realize there wasn't a problem. It's just, DICE walked into a problem that we could have easily avoided, and a lot of it goes back to they wanted to implement this form of a matchmaking, and it's not working. It's just, so many of my problems that I have with this game go back to that. So many of the problems, if you go, I'll keep this going, I can keep bringing it up. If you look on Reddit, which you shouldn't do, but if you do, you know, you got a lot of idiots there. There's a lot of people posting clips of, oh my god, where did my bullets go? Where are my bullets going? And a lot of that is them playing on a high ping, but they don't know they're playing on a high ping because they don't know how the matchmaking works, which still ultimately goes back to skill-based matchmaking at the end of the day, for the reasons we just discussed. But they don't have their ping up top. Like right now, you see the bars at the top of my screen. My ping is 53, where it says LA. I put that on so I know where it puts me in the matchmaking. So, for example, a lot of these dudes showing clips of their bullets not registering goes back to the servers. It's changing their region and they don't know it. Most other games, it goes based off host. If you're host, it's going to go to that region that you're in. You know, you create your lobby with your 4 friends. It doesn't matter where they are. You're the host of the lobby, so it will be in your region. That's not how this game works, but they don't know that because nobody pays attention. Rightfully so. You're just playing, but I pay attention. Especially when I live in the Philippines, I have to. So now we go into the lobby, and it could go anywhere. And it's just... Now you're playing on a 200 ping, and most of them don't realize that they are because they don't have a ping indicator. So most of those clips where you see dudes just shooting and not getting shit, and they're like, oh my god, hit registration of the game is bad. That doesn't necessarily mean hit registration. It just means the matchmaking, the way they do it, put you in a server. He was most likely playing with a friend who's not near him. And the first game, maybe he was on his server or region. So he was like, oh, this is fine. Next game, all of a sudden, now you're on a 200 ping, but he doesn't know that because he doesn't have the ping indicator on. And he's like, where are my bullets going? Because I see that same problem when I play with primes, where all of a sudden, my bullets will not do shit. You have to lead the target by 1,000,000 miles, but they don't know that because they don't have the ping indicator on. So they start talking about hit registration, where the problem goes actually back to, it's the matchmaking changing your region, and now you're playing on a crazy server far away. Like, I'm in the Philippines, Crimes is in America, and it will put us on an East Coast server, sometimes the US, which means I can't connect for shit. None of my bullets are going to register. So it's not a hit registration thing. It goes back to the matchmaking thing, which ultimately, if you follow the trail up to the beginning, it goes back to skill-based matchmaking. Because old Battlefields didn't have that problem because we had a server browser. But as time goes on, they kept doing this shit, and so many of the problems get traced back to skill-based matchmaking. And it's fucking annoying to me because they don't want to talk about that. I've literally seen clips, I'm not going to name names, I've seen people on Twitter send clips to some of these higher-ups, or not higher-ups, but DICE developers talking about hit registration. And, like, for example, this tree's a dude, he's, and none of the bullets are registering, and he's like, what the fuck? And instead of, did you check what region you're in? Did you jump out of a tank? Is there a glitch there where sometimes if you jump out of a tank, your bullets don't register? I'm like, I can almost 100% identify that the problem is he's on a server. He's probably playing with his friend. He's on a server that's very far away from him, and he doesn't realize he now has a 200 ping. And when you have a ping, you need to lead your shots way more. Even if they're just slightly walking a little, you gotta lead like he's full sprint. It's stupid. But they don't want to address that. They're like, maybe this, maybe that. I'm like, it's the matchmaking. Did you check what region you're in? But up to this point, I have not seen any of them talk about that. Because once you open that can of worms, and if the community wisened up and actually understood what was going on, DICE would be in a lot of trouble. Because I don't think it's a problem they can fix now that they've launched the game. So, we've said it before, and I'll say it again. I feel like they're not going to dive into that topic. Because once you open it up, and you start fucking digging deep, you're gonna realize it's problems they can't fix. And if it goes viral, right? Like games tend to do, like right now we have the whole it's AI controversy on that emblem. If that same fucking controversy started with this skill-based matchmaking, they would not be able to fix it for this game. It's too late. And that's because they ignored us in the beta, they ignored us in Battlefield Labs, they ignored us from 2042, and at the same time, so much of the community tells you that they listen so well, where if you actually know what you're talking about, they don't. They're trying to avoid it, and I could be wrong. I would love for a DICE developer to come in and we can have an actual conversation about it, but so many of the problems, we'll just sum it up with this, so many of the problems in this game stem back from skill-based matchmaking in one way, shape, or form. Not all the problems are it, obviously. There's plenty of problems that aren't tied to it, but a lot of the big ones, you can tie it back to that. And nobody wants to have that conversation. And I won't get invited to anything, partly because I get no views now, obviously. But even if I did, we're opening a can of worms that they don't want to open. And it's frustrating. It's fucking frustrating. And I thought we were over the flag, not out in the middle of a fucking forest. This isn't a forest, but you know what I mean. Let's just go to the target. Yeah, but the problem is when fixing those issues, you can believe whatever you want to believe. It's not about beliefs. It's about can they do shit. Adding a server browser system completely changes so much of the core of this game because they already built it. And now you have the servers running. It wouldn't just be a flip of a switch, let's get a server browser running. Like, alright, let's get rid of the skill-based matchmaking, let's get a server browser running. It's not a quick update that they can do that, especially now with all the players already in the servers. Now, maybe before launch they could have done it if we caught it early enough, which we tried to tell them that, but they didn't listen. I don't know if they could actually handle fixing it now that the game's actually out. Like, can you turn the servers off and completely get rid of this skill-based matchmaking and throw in a server browser and change the whole dynamic of how you search for a game? I don't know if they can do that. That's kind of like a core feature where if you set it up that way, you're not going to be able to change it on the fly. Which is, again, why we were so vocal during Battlefield Labs and even before that. Like, we need to catch this shit early, because if you don't, it's going to be way harder to fix now that everybody's in the game. And it's not like you can take the game offline for a long period of time. People aren't going to like that. They paid money. Where if you do that in a beta or before launch, you can get away with that. Where now you can't. So, like, it's not just the quick, like, oh, let's change the gun's damage from 33 to 32. You know, a more easy problem to fix. This is a very core issue that I am not so sure that they can fix, which is why I still will to this day think they are not going to dive deep into this conversation, because they know if it gets out and everybody starts screaming, let's say the whole community started saying the shit I'm saying, I don't think they could fix it, and they know that. They're like, we've already went down this road, we can't not go down this road. They could change it for a future game, but it's too early in Battlefield 6 to be talking about that. So they're kind of fucked right now, and it's one of the reasons I think anytime we talk about it, if we go down this route, they don't respond to anybody, at least that I've seen. They always will talk about some random little glitch that they can fix, but when you start diving deeper into the core, why we think this game's struggling, they have not been going into that conversation at all. Which is why I don't have faith in them. All signs to me are pointing they won't be able to fix that. They might be able to help it here and there a little bit, but the core issues I don't think are going to get addressed, which is a damn shame because this game has so much potential. I like the map design for the most part. Some of the maps sucks. I like that it's more infantry focused, but still vehicles. Vehicles are balanced enough despite what a lot of these Reddit fuckers are saying. Especially when we come to tanks, they're pretty balanced. There's a lot of good shit that they could do. And I think the core things are going to ultimately hold this game back. And that's mainly stems from they wanted to implement this version of a matchmaking. Where if you go back to BF3, that's not how this matchmaking worked. If you go back to 4, that's not how this matchmaking worked. You go back to Battlefield 1, that's not how this matchmaking worked. You go back to Battlefield 5, that's not how this matchmaking worked. The only time they used this type of shit was on 2042, which was a utter fail of a game. Why would you copy that? It makes no sense. They changed this game so much from 2042, which is good. They needed to, and they fixed a lot of the stuff, like the OP vehicles and all that shit. Map design was too big and bland. Now they don't got that problem. Now, if anything, they're too small and people are complaining about that, but this is fine the way it is. You add a few more decent-sized maps, we ain't got no problems, right? But then they keep the matchmaking, which just ultimately, I think at the end of the day, when this game's run is done and we're moving on to the next game, I think we're going to look back at that's one of the biggest problems. And I don't think they're going to address it. I hope they do. I fucking hope they do, because I need it. I need a fucking server browser more than anybody, and not that stupid-ass shit in Portal. Like, it would just solve so many problems, but I think it's too late.